All right. So first of all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth, and these are where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number. All right. So I had mentioned a few, maybe a little bit more than a few videos ago, that I wanted to read some of Second Esdras, to show how some of our, all right, even some of our, to give an example of, well, to show that some of our forefathers, had the same sincere questions that we have today. All right. And specifically, okay, we're going to speak about our forefather, one of our forefathers, Esdras. Okay, what we're going to read here is Second Esdras, chapter 4. Okay, my brother and I had got together and read this today, and it came back to me that I did want to go into this chapter, and this is one of the chapters, all right, that give this example of sincere questions. Okay. Also, what I wanted to keep in mind or bring to the forefront is that some questions, all right, although they may be sincere, all right, some of the knowledge that the Lord has, all right, is too much or not appointed for us to have at this time. All right. In this time, we are to be focused on the things that are commanded us, all right, that bring salvation. And there is a little bit more than that down here, okay, that the scriptures bring out. But for the most part, especially being new, okay, coming into this as a child, you want to get those basic blocks, okay? You want to get the basics down, which I am still, all right, gathering, okay? The knowledge, the basic knowledge, all right? Although when my elders apostles go into the more meatier things, all right, I do understand them when they are speaking about them, but you know, there's a difference between hearing these things and understanding them and then going into it and knowing these things, all right, becoming teachable, all right, gathering this knowledge to yourself, all right, through research, through guidance, and knowing them to where you can then in turn go and teach. I heard one of the brothers say that, I think it was Yawasop, Hopeful Elect, 777. I think he had mentioned, our goal should be to, okay, to strive for the knowledge that even our apostles, elders, and the ones above us have. All right. So it is uh, a it is a work. Okay, this is work. This is a race, not a race as in a sprint, but a race as in a marathon. Okay, you can say it that way. All right, so it takes time to gather this knowledge for some people. Some people it doesn't. Some simple things, the ones that are further ahead, they not have to come back and learn, but maybe they'll come back and be like, oh man, it's been a while since I read that. You know what I mean? So it's a labor of love, which is what another brother said. I think that was Yashar Wamba, okay, brother Yashar Wamba. All right, from Dallas. Yawasop, or Hopeful Elect 7. Yawasop Hopeful Elect 777 is from El Paso. Uh, brother Yashawamba. Okay, he's from Dallas. All right, and we all learned from the heads of this body. All right, Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Gabar, Elder Apostle Rakah. All right, Elder Apostle Ramlab on down. Okay, and there are many brothers in this body. Okay, so if I'm in the process of learning, okay, does that mean uh, that I'm in this alone? No. There's comfort in these scriptures in that the Lord has given us a brotherhood and a body. All right. So if we don't have answers or we need help, okay, we have the brotherhood. Okay. So I did want to go over this or read, and this is just a reading. Okay. We'll go into a few scriptures during this reading, but I do want to read again Second Esdras chapter 4. Also, I'm going to read this out of the Good News Translation. All right, so give me a second to get here. Okay. All right, here it is. Second Esdras chapter 4. All right. So the heading, all right, above chapter 4 of Second Esdras reads, "The human mind cannot understand Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai's ways." Okay. So it reads, "The angel Uriel, who had been sent to me, replied, 'You can't even understand what happens in this world. Do you think you can understand the ways of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai, or Yahweh the Almighty, all right, the Most High God?' All right. Verse 3 says, 'Yes, sir, I do,' I answered. The angel continued, 'I have been sent to ask you to solve 3 riddles about what happens in this world. If you can explain even one of them to me, I will answer your questions about Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai's ways and teach you why the human race has an evil impulse.' Verse 5 says, 'I agree, sir,' I said. Then he said to me, 'Good. How do you weigh out a how do you weigh out a pound of fire? How do you measure a bushel of wind? How do you bring back a day that has passed?' I answered, 'Why do you ask me such questions? No human being could answer them.' Then he said, 'What if I had asked you how many dwelling places there are at the bottom of the sea? How many rivers flow into the waters beneath the earth? How many rivers are there above the dome of the sky? Where are the exits from the world of the dead? Where are the entrances to paradise?' If I had asked you these questions, you might have answered, 'I have never gone down into the waters beneath the earth, and I have not yet entered the world of the dead. I have never gone up to heaven. But all I have asked you about is fire, wind, and the day that has just passed, things that you have experienced. Yet you have given me no answer. You can't even understand things that you have been familiar with since you were a child. How then can your little mind understand the ways of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, or of Yahweh, all right? Can someone already worn down by this corrupt world understand the ways of the incorruptible power?' When I heard this, I fell faceward on the ground, or excuse me, I fell face downward on the ground and said to him, 'It would have been better if we had never been born than to have to live in a world of sin and suffering without understanding why things happen as they do. Now, there's a few scriptures that came to mind here. All right, I already have these pulled up. All right, Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. All right, and we might even read 10, okay? It reads, this is Isaiah 55 and 8, King James Version. It reads, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord, Yahweh." All right, now, a lot of people will try to interject themselves into the director's seat of the Lord. How are you going to do that? All right, so all these questions about why this and that are too high for you to answer, this is a quick answer for that. All right, your thoughts are not the Lord's thoughts. Okay, He has a reason, a time for everything that happens here. Okay, and they're all righteous. All right, but the world does not understand that for the most part. Okay, verse 9, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Again, if you didn't understand verse 8, right, he reiterated that in verse 9. Okay, there's no way you can figure out the ways of the Most High. All right, our mind's not like his, which is when I read this heading above verse 4, it also, all right, spoke to those same sentiments. It says the human mind cannot understand Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai's ways. All right. Again, verse 10 now. "For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it." All right, this is the Lord's movie. He's doing with it as he pleases. All right, it doesn't matter if you believe these things or not. All right, so let's get back into let's go back into this second Esdras chapter 4. All right, it reads what verse are we on? Verse 13. It reads, "The angel Uriel answered, I once went into the woods and heard the trees plotting together. They were saying, let's go to war against the sea and push it back so that we may have more room. But the waves of the sea also plotted together and said, let's conquer the woods and extend our territory. But all the plotting of the trees was useless because fire came and destroyed them. And the plotting of the sea was just as useless because the sand stood firm and blocked its advance. Now, if you were the judge and had to decide between them, which would you pronounce right?" I replied, "They were both wrong, because trees belong on the land and waves belong in the sea, just as people belong in their lot." Okay, they can't cross over to someone else's lot. All right, things are the way the Lord set them. Okay, verse 20 now. Again, we're reading 2nd Esdras chapter 4 in the Good News translation. It says, "You have given the right answer," he said, "so why can't you see the answer to your own problems? For just as trees have their place on the land and waves have their place in the sea, so the people of this world can understand only what goes on in this world, and only heavenly beings can understand what goes on in heaven." All right, let me all right, speaking of people that ask why this and that, all right, you question why the way things are, and you want to interject yourself in the director's seat thinking that you can do better. All right, there's no way. Okay, there is no way. All right, so you need to here, what does it read this? John 3 and verse 30. It says, he must increase. Who is that? All right, Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. But I must decrease. Okay? Come into this as a child. Become humble. Okay? Become meek, lowly. Know that you are not in control of this. All right? John 3 and 31. It says, he that cometh from above is above all. He that is of the earth is earthly, and speaketh of the earth. He that cometh from heaven is above all. Again, all right? Stay in your place, all right, as a mere mortal. Okay? Humble yourself. All right? Let me see. John 3 and 32 now says, and what he hath seen and heard, that he testifieth, and no man receive his testimony. All right, he that hath received his testimony hath set to his seal that Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai is true. All right, we know these things because the Lord has, for one, given us this great gift of faith. Okay, which in turn is allowing us to humble ourselves, become meek, and knowing that we're weak, becoming weak. All right, because we are actually weak. Okay, we're not strong yet. All right, we're not strong yet. We lean on the Lord. Okay, we don't lean on this world anymore. And the people that lean on this world are really more weak than we are. All right. Let me see. John 3 and 34. For he whom Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai hath sent speaketh the words of the power. For Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai giveth not the Spirit by measure unto him. For the Father loveth the Son, and hath given all things into his hand. And we are joint heirs, all right? The Lord, Yahweh Shai, all right, sent a comforter, the Holy Spirit, down here to guide us, all right? John 3 and 36, finish this chapter out, might as well. He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Yahweh Baal Hashem Yahweh Shai abideth on him. All right. So it's cool to have questions. Right. The Lord, all right, the angels, the Lord doesn't tell his angels to turn away questions. All right. How else are you going to grow? All right. But don't think that you are going to jump in the driver's seat and make things in this world be the way that you want them to be, even in your own world. All right. We are not our own. Okay. So let me get back to this. Let's see. All right, we're at verse 22 with the subheading being the end of the age. Okay. Verse 22, it says, please tell me, sir, I asked. Again, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 4 in the Good News Translation. Please tell me, sir, I asked, why then was I given the ability to understand anything? I am not interested in asking questions about what goes on in the heavens. I am only concerned about the things that go on around us. Why has our power allowed Israel to be disgraced by foreign nations? Why has he let the nation he loves, he loves, be handed over to the power of godless nations? Why do the law and the covenant that were given to our ancestors mean nothing anymore? And why do we die as quickly as insects? Why is our life shorter than a breath, Why does Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai think us unworthy of his mercy? Why doesn't Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai do something to help his own people? These are the questions that I want to ask, and people have questions like this all the time. All right, whether they ask them or not is a different story. But these are very sincere questions, man. And the answers are here, which the men of the Lord, all right, tell you, whether you hear or forbear. And for the most part, people are not even listening. All right, they're pushing the Lord's hand away or pulling their shoulder away from the Lord, man. Okay, they don't understand that the men of the Lord are how the Lord communicates a lot. All right, to guide you to the truth. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai. Let's go here to 1 Corinthians 2 and 13, because the same things that were told to the sons of God in the beginning, all right, are told to us now as Israelites that are scattered abroad. Okay. First Corinthians 2 and 13, it says, which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Spirit teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. Verse 14, it says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. All right, the things that we speak seem foolish to you mortals, all right, you people in this world, all right, including 2/3 of you Israelites here in America. All right, the things that we speak are foolishness, and yet you have questions like this. Okay, but you won't ask, or even if you do ask, you're not asking to get the answer. All right, Esdras is asking this in a sincere way. All right, a lot of you ask not to understand, but to reply. All right, that's it. You don't care about the answer. All right, this world has given you all the answers you need. That's why you stick with it. All right, but you need to come this way. Okay, and start being able to discern spiritually what's going on here. Okay, this world is soon to pass away, as what we're about to get into going on in this chapter. Okay, now let's pick back up in here. Verse 26, again, 2nd Esdras chapter 4 in the Good News translation. It says, Uriel answered, if you live long enough, you will be surprised at what you will see, because this age is rapidly passing away. Hold on a second here. Okay. We just read 26. I'm due to attention spans being low, I'm gonna cut this video, and we're gonna come back right back, Lord willing, with part 2. Okay, we're gonna pick right back up on verse 26 of 2nd Esdras chapter 4 in the Good News translation. All right, so with that, I hope this is coming through as sincere and edifying. And with that, all praise to Yahweh, in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, and also known as the prophets of doom. Now, these are where I have learned this truth, and these are where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.